He washed his face, looked into the mirror, and saw not a victim, but a man who had let others walk on the ground he paved. A man who was done being small. At exactly 7, he sat on the bed and called the one person he trusted most, Wells, the financial director. "Withdraw every resource from Thompson Bakery," Miles said calmly. "Every machine, every loan, every contract. Freeze all orders. The foundation support ends today." Wells didn't ask questions. "It will be done, sir." Next, Miles called Ethan, his godson, the CEO who ran part of Miles's empire. "I need Vanessa Thompson, and Jordan Thompson fired today." "Consider it done," Ethan replied. Then came the final call, Harrington, a man whose signature could destroy companies. "I want you to bankrupt Raymond Cole's company," Miles said. A long, understanding breath sounded on the line. "It will be handled." Miles set his phone down. Notifications exploded immediately. Calls, messages, alerts. The consequences had already begun. Meanwhile, over at Margaret's apartment, the morning felt quiet and gentle. Exactly why what happened next hit so brutally. Vanessa woke late, replaying last night's laughter with pride. She expected praise, messages from cousins, maybe a sweet text from Raymond. Instead, her phone lit up with a bright red email notification. She opened it. "This email serves as formal notice of the immediate termination of your employment." Her breath caught. Her pulse spiked. She reread the email again and again. No. This has to be a mistake. Jordan burst into her room, holding his phone like it was burning him. "Did you get this? They fired us. On Christmas weekend." "Who does that? Why?" Before she could reply, Margaret's furious voice shook the house. "Vanessa! Jordan! Get down here right now!" They ran downstairs to find her pacing, phone to her ear, bakery keys in hand. "They shut everything down," she screamed. "Suppliers canceled. My accounts are frozen. Rent is due today. Nobody can tell me who ordered this." Vanessa collapsed onto the couch. "Mom, our jobs are gone." Margaret froze. "What do you mean gone?" Jordan held out his phone. "Terminated. Immediately." Before she could speak, Raymond stormed inside, tie crooked, phone pressed to his ear. "Our stock is crashing. 42% in 30 minutes, he shouted. "Investors pulled out. Every deal collapsed. My accounts are frozen. The bank is recalling all my loans. We're bankrupt." Silence filled the room like ice. Jordan whispered the only explanation that made sense. Do you think it was Miles?" Vanessa's head snapped up. No. Miles can't do this. He doesn't have that kind of power." Raymond laughed bitterly. "Someone does. And everything that happened this morning points to last night. This isn't coincidence. It's revenge." Margaret shook with rage. "If he touched anything belonging to this family, I will make sure he regrets." But even she didn't fully believe her own confidence. Vanessa stood abruptly. "We're going to his apartment." Raymond nodded. "All of us. Now." They rushed out, hands shaking, hearts pounding, driving toward the same apartment they once mocked, and every mile pulled them closer to a truth none of them ever imagined. She had no idea that her quiet, reserved husband was actually a multi-billionaire who secretly funded her mother's failing business. And she definitely didn't expect what he would do after her mother poured dirty dishwater on him during the family's Christmas dinner, while she and her lover laughed. The Christmas lights glowed softly over the dinner table, but the warmth in the room was fake. Vanessa kissed her lover boldly right beside her husband, and the whole family applauded. None of them knew that the silent man they mocked was the very person keeping their businesses alive. When Margaret, her mother, slapped divorce papers into his chest and then dumped dirty wash water over his head, everyone burst into laughter. But Miles didn't shout. He didn't flinch. He didn't break. He simply looked at every face around the table, then walked out into the cold night. Calm, quiet, and far more dangerous than any anger. No one knew that the man they humiliated was the reason they still had jobs, homes, and stability. No one knew that within a few hours, the world they built on arrogance would collapse, because the worthless man they laughed at was the one who owned everything. So tell me, viewers, what kind of man takes humiliation quietly, because he knows he owns the storm that's coming? And what would you do if the family you secretly supported threw dirty water on you and laughed? Warm light spread across the long dining table, reflecting off shiny cutlery and sparkling Christmas decorations. But nothing felt warm to Miles as he entered and felt the room fall silent. A silence that told him he was not welcome. Vanessa didn't even greet him. She sat close to her sharply dressed lover, Raymond, whose confident smirk said he already thought the night belonged to him. Vanessa smiled at Raymond in a way that tightened something painful inside Miles. The family watched Miles with impatient, satisfied expressions, as though his arrival was part of a cruel script they all knew, except him. Margaret walked in carrying a tray of turkey and looked at Miles with disappointment. "You're late," she said, even though he wasn't. "Find a seat." No one moved. He found a chair in the corner, listening to the loud whispers about men without ambition and women who deserved better. Then Margaret tapped her glass. "Before dessert, Vanessa has something to share." Vanessa slowly stood, placed her hand on Raymond's shoulder and kissed him, openly, boldly, shamelessly. Gasps filled the room, followed by laughter. Real laughter. Raymond held her tighter. Miles stood up. "Vanessa, what are you doing?" she sighed. "Miles, don't start tonight. You just kissed another man in front of me." Raymond chuckled. "Relax, man. It's not that serious." But Margaret stormed up to Miles. "Don't raise your voice in my house. Don't pretend you're someone this family should respect." "She's my wife," he said. "No," Margaret snapped. "She made a mistake marrying beneath herself. Tonight she corrects it." She pulled out divorce papers and slammed them into his chest. Before he could speak, she grabbed the metal bowl of dirty washwater and threw it at him. Food scraps and greasy water drenched him. The room exploded with laughter. Vanessa laughed behind her hand. Raymond nearly spit out his drink. Jordan pointed at Miles. "Oh my God, look at him!" Margaret folded her arms. "Get out! You are a disappointment, Miles! We are done pretending!" Otherwise. The laughter faded. Everyone waited to see how he would react. Miles simply wiped his face, straightened his back, and said calmly, "Thank you for showing me exactly who you are." Then he walked out without looking back. Outside, the cold wind hit his face. The humiliation burned. Dirty water dried on his clothes as he reached his car. The neighborhood lights blinked cheerfully, unaware of the storm inside him. He sat in the car, gripping the steering wheel as the echoes of laughter slowly faded. Beneath the pain, something else began to awaken. Quiet, steady, dangerous. With his eyes closed, memories of Vanessa from better days flashed through his mind. The cafe where they first met. The gentle walks in the park. The soft promises she once made. But those memories no longer warmed him. They only reminded him of what he had lost, and what they were about to lose. He remembered the trembling honesty in her voice the day she said yes when he asked her to build a life with him. Those memories didn't feel far away, yet they belonged to a completely different world. World where trust wasn't shattered in one humiliating night under Christmas lights. Miles opened his eyes, breath uneven, and started the engine. The car hummed softly as he pulled away from the curb, watching the house shrink in the rearview mirror until it disappeared entirely. The empty streets stretched ahead, glowing with holiday decorations. He drove on instinct until he reached his apartment. Inside, warmth wrapped around him. Soft yellow lights glowed against the clean, minimalist interior. The quiet order of a man who made peace from simplicity. He took off his jacket, went to the kitchen, and grabbed a bottle of whiskey he hadn't touched in months. After pouring a glass, he sat on the couch, holding it loosely. He didn't drink immediately. He stared ahead as another memory surfaced. Remembered sitting inside Margaret's bakery back when it was falling apart. Cracked floors, unreliable ovens, and desperation behind her forced smiles. She didn't know that the quiet man tasting her pastries had already read every financial report, every loan statement, every overdue notice. She judged him then too, yet he chose kindness and secretly saved her business through an anonymous foundation. He drank slowly, the burn warm in his chest. Another memory flashed. Jordan, lost between failed internships, given a career only because Miles made one phone call. Then Vanessa, who never knew her resume, reached the CEO's desk because he quietly pushed it there. She believed she earned everything on her own, never knowing that the man she laughed at carried her dreams on his shoulders. He finished the whiskey, set the glass down, and straightened. Something inside him shifted. Not anger, but a clear, calm certainty. He changed out of his soaked clothes, slipped into bed, and slept deeply, like a man who had finally woken up. Morning came differently. Light poured into the room gently, warming his face. He opened his eyes without confusion, without the painful moment of remembering the night before, because nothing inside him felt shattered now. The humiliation had sharpened him,